Started. Yay. Hello, everyone. I am live, and it's always tricky because on YouTube, it's like you're actually live before it tells you you're live. It's always like a few seconds right before. That's why I always don't just sit here and stare into the screen. Hello and welcome. There's a few of you already here. Hi, Sasiskala. Hello from India. And hello from Uganda, says Agnole. Rachie, soprano. Hey, we just saw each other in my music theory live Zoom. Hello from Boston. Awesome. We just had this really great meeting with my music theory class that is running at the moment, and we're having so much fun diving very deep into the different topics. We do a once a week like a Q&A where, if there are any questions beyond what all the stuff that I taught, and we talked about natural phenomena like frequencies and how everything overlaps and why why there is a perfect interval and why perfect intervals cannot be major and minor. It was a lot of fun. Hi, Louise. Hello from London, you say? Well, I will be flying into London in a couple weeks, except I'm not going to be in London. Let's wait just one more minute until everyone jumps on board, and then I'm going to get started. Let me just say I'm excited about what I want to talk about today because I have literally thought about this for years. And it's just now I'm taking steps to just start talking about these things. Probably talked about this in the past, but I want to make it a little bit more uh, dominant here on my channel. I'm also going to start something that I'm already doing. Hi, Michael. It's great to see you again. And hi, Sandy. Great to see you. Yay, awesome. I'm doing something that I did talk about before and literally have thought about this for years. And on Mondays, we're actually going to do something now here on my channel that I'm already doing inside of my online singing school. And that is, I'm going to post a Mindset Monday video. I have mostly talked about singing technique and exercises, but here's the thing, and that's what I really want to talk about today. Singing is probably just 20% skill. Hold on before you say anything about this. Skill doesn't just come by physically practicing. Skill also comes a lot through your mindset. Your brain is literally what creates everything and anything that you do, that you say, that you sing, any movement. Your brain is like the central computer of it all. So whatever goes on in here will determine 100% of what comes out anywhere. So that's why the mind is so powerful. It can create and it can destroy. And I want to talk a little bit about the fact that here's my experience. Now, when I was a child already, you probably have all heard that I was raised in a musical family. My dad was a singer. My mom played in orchestras. She played the classical guitar, and she was a teacher at the conservatory in Frankfurt for classical guitar. And, I was raised between like music studios and backstage and orchestra pit and TV shows and radio shows. My dad and mom did all these things, and I was just always there. I never had a babysitter. I don't remember ever being anywhere except with my parents. They always just took me everywhere. My brother had an entirely different experience growing up because at that time, my parents settled a bit more, and we had someone to take care. Well, I was a little bit older already, but there was like a very dear neighbor. She was like our grandma, and she started being around a lot, and she helped my mom in the house. So then I didn't have to come along everywhere, which I appreciated because it was so boring as a child a lot of times. So, but my experience was that already then I understood there were some, especially singers, there were some singers who I thought sounded so amazing, and it was always the ones that sounded natural and like they're not trying too hard. It just happens for them. And then there were those singers where I had the feeling they're struggling, they're trying really hard, but even though they're trying really hard, there's some disconnect. It's not like they're not being fully themselves, and they're not being authentic. And a child can smell that like 100 miles away if someone is not being authentic. Now, you can too, except as adults, we have learned to kind of like expect things and be kind and be like, yeah, and this is what we expect, and this is how you talk, and this is how you look in front of others. We have all these conventions that, I don't know, in reality, someone just made them up once and we just follow without question, without questioning anything. We just follow. It's like, but the authenticity of any given person plays a lot into how convincing they're ever going to be and how skilled they're going to come across. And I remember that I could not figure this out as a child. There were some singers, especially singers, it just applies to singers a lot more than it does to instrumentalists, because let's face it, as a pianist, skill is so much more important, actually. um, you can't just BS your way into playing a Liszt piece. You can't. You just literally have to know all the technique and be amazing at that. As a singer, it's a bit different because you're telling a story. It's a lot of personality. And also, well, let's just say that a pianist also, he needs skill, but if a pianist has doubts, that will also hinder him. As a singer, there were so many singers that I thought they were not natural. I did not even like the sound of their voice. I also didn't think they were great. But what the heck were they doing on stage? I wondered as a child. It's like, I don't, they're not good. I had a very sensitive ear as a child already. And I thought, they're not good. I don't understand why they're famous. What's the deal? And then there were sometimes artists that, like, my parents had a lot of friends and they were, a lot of musicians there. And some of those were so, like, there were some that were amazing, but they were struggling. They always were saying, like, yeah, and like a lot of bad things happened a lot of times, and like, not fair, like this was not fair, and this other person got the gig and the part, and at the audition. And let me just tell you, when you go to a bunch of auditions, that you start understanding a lot of stuff. Now, when you are among people who all have a high level of skill, then there's so much more to it. You have to add another layer. And whether you succeed or fail as a singer, and I'm not just talking about, when you're a professional singer, I'm also just talking about whether you succeed at what you really want. It might be, you know, being recognized as the singer in choir who is um, a respectable singer, who's good, who knows how to do things, and not someone who, not being told by others, oh, you shouldn't sing or stuff like that. That's very hurtful when someone says that. But it has a lot to do with your mind. And that's why I say it's 20% skill. But here's the thing, if you need 100% skill, the 20% is going to come just by repeating and practicing. And the 80% is going to come by your mind allowing you to practice in a way that'll even just open the doors for you to come to a higher level of skill. Because as a singer, it's very tricky. You can just repeat and repeat and repeat, and it can actually make it worse if you don't do it right. And also if you don't have the right attitude. And let's face it, if you do it more efficiently, if you have the right mindset, you need less repetition, because your brain literally, like, if you know what it is that you want the outcome to be, it's almost like you are paving your way to get there. Whereas if you don't have an outcome in your mind, if you're not specific, and I get these emails every single day. How can I just be a great singer? Freya, can you help me be an amazing singer? Freya, I want to sound great. Wh- what is that? What is great? What is amazing? And what is a good singer? It's so unspecific. If you think that way, there's nothing like how you're going to achieve that. How are you going to achieve that goal that I'm going to be a great singer? What is a great singer? And what are the things you need to do to become a great singer? You have to define that first. And that is all going on in your mind. You have to define what it means to be a great singer. What does it mean to be a good singer? Is it that your pitches are inaccurate? Are you just not hitting the right pitches? Is it that your timing is totally off? Is it just that you don't breathe ever and that's why you're always coming in late? um, do you just sound nasal all the time? Like, what is it? What is it that doesn't make, what keeps you from being that great singer that you want to be? And we all have been there. We know that something isn't right. And what we do is just everything's horrible. It's like, I'm bad. I suck. It's just not, I'm just, it's not good enough. It's just not good. So I'm going to quit. Instead of having a clear vision of what you want your voice to be. What is it that you want it to be? If you want to be the next Disney princess and you're an alto and you have this really raspy low voice, it's going to be really hard to sound like a Disney princess. So what is the, what's, do you have that expectation that reflects who you truly are? And, as I've been thinking about all this thing, how mindset plays into this, here's a story I want to tell you. Those of you who have ambitions or who already make money, here's the truth. There are a lot of struggling artists out there. That included me at some point. Now, I wasn't struggling to the point where I didn't get any gigs. I always got gigs. As a matter of fact, I had so much work. I was exhausted a lot of times because I did so many gigs. And even as a vocal coach, I had so many students. But I was not being intentional. And here's the mindset that I was in. And here's why I was struggling, in a sense that I had to sing so much to make a good living that it exhausted me. It's because whenever someone inquired about how much would it cost for you to sing here at this event, I always had the scarcity mindset. And here's what I thought. I thought, wow, what if they don't book me? I really want them to book me. I really need, even if it's just a little bit of money, even if it's like 200 euros, well, to have 200 euros and not to have 200 euros, I really want them, I need them to book me. So maybe I'll quote them just the 200 and then they will book me. And this is what happened, but I attracted gigs that exhausted me. And I cannot tell you how many times I was at that gig and I would sit at the piano or be backstage waiting for my entrance. And I would think, I cannot believe I only charged this much. What am I thinking? I resented being there because I'm thinking, I cannot believe this. I'm just working my behind off here. I'm amazing. I'm great. I'm probably one of the best musicians they've ever had here. But what am I doing? I'm charging this much. I hate being here for that much money now. When I started doing this, so someone would call me and ask me, how much would it cost for you to sing for this reception? Um, just a few songs. I would tell people, you know what, for me, it doesn't really matter whether I sing one song or 20 songs. The fact that I'm coming, that I'm driving there, that I'm setting up all my stuff, um, it's just as much. Once I'm set up and I'm singing, it's a breeze. It's all the stuff around. It's driving there. Sometimes I drove so far for the money that I was thinking, come on now. I'm driving for hours and that's all I'm getting. And I resented that. But when I started getting into the mindset of how much money would they have to pay me to think, oh, yeah, it's really worth it. I'm going to not go to bed early today. I'm actually going to stay up half the night and I'm going to sacrifice being with my children, or back then my child, I'm gonna haul all my stuff there. I'm gonna set it up. I'm gonna in the middle of the night haul everything back again. How much money would they have to pay me for me to feel like it's really worth it? And when I started quoting them, like, okay, it's like 1,500. And you know what? Here's what happened. I attract those people who just thought it was going to cost a couple hundred. They didn't even ask anymore because that is so beyond what they were going to pay that it, no serious connection was ever made. And those people who knew and who wanted something of high quality, they know they're not going to get the high quality for 200 bucks. They're going to pay the 1,500 bucks. And you know what? Having the confidence to quote them 1,500, it took me being absolutely clear about the fact, you know what? I'm going to repel some people, and that's absolutely okay. Because instead of having 10 gigs, I'm going to just have one gig. I'm going to love the gig. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to show up so differently. I'm going to commit. I'm going to give it my all truly. Not for a second. I'm going to think, oh, why am I here? I'm going to be there all the way and I'm going to show up so differently. And you know what? I started attracting exactly those kind of people who would want what I had to deliver. And if you are someone who just has the scarcity mindset of like, oh, but I can't and I don't want to do that, even if you don't get paid for singing, but you have that mindset of like, oh, but like I'm like, I beggars can't be choosers, you're not going to attract opportunities that help you grow, that help you show up differently. Now, if you have someone who expects a lot from you, you show up differently. You just show up differently than, oh, it's just, there's nothing on the line for me. And that's why I created a workshop that I want to do right here in my studio for just a few people who are sick and tired of not showing up all the way, who want to start taking things up to the next level, start working on their mindset to not have the mindset of scarcity, but literally create what it is that they truly want to do when it comes to the music world. What is it that you truly want to do? And who says you can't do that? Well, but I'm not good enough. You know what? Here's the thing. You may know Cheryl Porter. She has a huge, gigantic channel here on YouTube. And she, just a few months ago, she was on the Ellen show, the Ellen DeGeneres show. And I watched her little reel or it was just like a short video where she showed that journey of like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be on that show. And she said on that show, you know what? That's absolutely not true that you have to be born with all that talent. And she said exactly what I always have experienced. Those people who are born with a lot of natural talent, number one, they destroy their voice because they're not aware of any technical things that they need to do to save their voice. And number two, they don't work hard. So the person who is not born with that amazing natural talent, they will tend to work a lot harder. And at the end, they can actually achieve more than the natural talent person who just takes everything for granted. So, and the answer is, and even Cheryl Porter says that, everyone can learn to sing and everyone can become amazing. Now, you cannot become someone else. You can't become Ariana Grande because you're not. You can become the best version of yourself. And so, in my workshop for an entire weekend, we're gonna dive deep, and I just want to work with a few individuals who say, this means so much to me. I want to pursue this. I want to be the singer who is heard, who is appreciated, and I want to be respected for all of that. And I want to be that amazing artist. I want to connect to the music. And I want everyone who listens to me to be blown away. And I want to change lives. And in order to do that, you need to change a lot of things here. Not only that, you also need to learn a lot of best practices. How do you go about things? How do you become that one person act? I've always been a one person act. I've sung with a bunch of bands, I've sung with a bunch of orchestras, I've sung all over the place. But basically, I've always been self-reliant. I can play the piano, I can accompany myself, and it's always just me. I've never had an agent, I've never had like anyone marketing me because I love my independence. I want to make the calls. I want to just decide everything. I want to create every day like I want to create it. And I don't want anyone interfering with my how I want to live my life every day. I don't want anyone telling me you have to do this or that. I have been offered record deals that I did not sign because there were some in the contract, there were some things that I did not agree with because it would have meant that I don't do things like I really want to do them. Like, this is how I feel things. This is how I feel my music. This is how I feel the lyrics. Now, I want to take advice any day from someone who has great advice. I'm not resistant to advice. But when it comes to being truly authentic, I don't ever want to give that up for 1 second. And that's my friends, that's what it's all about. Being truly authentic, being truly yourself. It's the only way you're ever going to connect with people and to blow them away. So, my first workshop right here in my studio in person is going to be April 1st and 2nd, and it's going to be very intimate. It's going to be an entire Saturday and an entire Sunday. We're going to have lunch together, we're going to have dinner together. I have so much I want to talk about, but it's going to be in an intimate setting for those people who say, okay, how far can I go? I want to do this thing. And there's actually an option to do a VIP version of this, which then will add on an entire month of me coaching you via like a video chat. And it is about technique, but it's so much more. I have experienced in all of my groups that as soon as the pep talks, the mindset, the changing of perspective sometimes does so much more for the voice than some of the technical aspects that I can explain. Because the truth is, you do things automatically with your voice when you get in the right mindset. All the technicalities could not explain it in the way that you could feel it when you truly feel what it is that you're supposed to do, because of that inner feeling, because you're truly authentically feeling something. When I tell you, um, shout in an angry voice, that is so much more effective than me saying, okay, now I want you to support, I want you to take a deep breath, and then I want you to use your diaphragm and push out air. Use your chest voice on a higher pitch in your voice. See, all these explanations are great, but just our human experience of this is what an angry voice sounds like. Now we can tweak it. I can always say, you should breathe a little bit more deeply, then you won't hurt yourself. You can open that you were a little nasal. We can add these aspects, but a lot of it has to do with your mind. Are there any questions? Hi, Joanna Bell. Oh, I can never say your name, but I've seen your name in my email inbox. Swanjeje. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly. I'm so sorry. Hi, Candy from Hong Kong. Hi, Music with Lavelle. Awesome. Kathy and Faye, we were just all in the meeting together. But Sandy, it's great that you're here again. Oh, awesome. Did I say your name correctly? That's great. Okay, everyone here. Have you ever really thought about what's in here? What are the hangups that you have? What are the hangups about your voice and about your singing voice and the way it sounds. Do you like your singing voice? Do you love your singing voice? And what are some of the hangups? What are the things that what is your attitude toward your singing voice? Even your speaking voice. Sandy says, my tone is dull, likely because I can. Um, um, you can't relax. Okay. Um, here's what's very, very true about using our voice. Our voice is very much an extension of our personality. So the way we perceive ourselves and we perceive our voice, it's really hard to change anything about it. Some of us even speak on the wrong pitch. Voice therapists know how to work with people who actually are in the habit of speaking on the wrong pitch. But your own perception of your voice, you know how you when you listen to your recordings, it's like, ooh, that doesn't sound like me, because you hear yourself, you perceive yourself so differently than others will. Um, and see, saying you have a dull tone, um, maybe you're just staying in your safety zone. And of course, I know your voice, Sandy. We have worked together. It's really hard to get out of that, you know, the safety zone, what we're used to. To break out of that and take risks is really hard. And to do things that might sound extremely silly and weird, especially when you use your voice, we are always worried that others perceive us as being like over the top when we do something vocally that isn't like, shh, 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 be nice, be nice, be nice. You don't do this, you don't do that. Nancy says too much vibrato. That's also a habit that can really, that comes across as trying too hard. And so, why is it that you have that vibrato? You probably heard something way back in time and you just do it. Now, knowing how to turn on and off the vibrato is really important. And connecting to your speaking voice can be a very wonderful cure for that. Because we don't ever speak with vibrato. We don't speak with vibrato at all. And so, connecting to your speaking voice can maybe help you with that. Joanna Bell says, I stopped singing 4 years ago after a major setback. I started singing again, but feel weird doing it now. I get nervous, no techniques, nothing. hmm And see, probably that is a vicious cycle. You feel nervous because you're lacking some of the technical aspects, but you're also lacking the technical aspects because you're so nervous and you're not allowing yourself to get into this mindset to where you're open to be like, it's okay to fail. It's okay to not be perfect. I am going to get better. These are the steps I need to take. See how much is in your mind. It's so much in your mind. Oh, thank you so much. What's your actual name? Music with Level. Lavelle. So much of what we do as singers, especially, is in our minds, and how far you can go and how your sound will actually be in the end has so much to do with your limitations that you put on yourself. So lacking technique, that is something that can be caught up. You can learn it. Now, of course, it might have to be some hard work. Again, hard work for singers does not equal hard work that, how we think about it. Like you have to do it for hours and hours and hours and hours every day. Hard work really also means doing a lot of mind work, being intentional, being focused, figuring out what are the actual weaknesses and what are my assets. I might think of some things and, maybe you think of your voice as having a weakness. Maybe that is not a weakness. Maybe that's even an asset. When someone says, for example, like Sandy says, I have a dull tone, maybe that could be an asset when you sing the right kind of songs. Maybe you don't need for all the things that you want to do. You don't maybe need that beautifully resonant voice. Maybe you can have that more, I don't want to call it like, now don't take it the wrong way. Having an average sounding voice for some things that you sing can be a blessing because it doesn't distract from some of the, from some of the things that are important. So for example, when you sing in church, it's great to have a beautiful, but not too out of the usual tone. And it really hurts me to read when someone says, "Well, I stopped singing because I just felt like it just wasn't getting better." And that is because you're not like you have to start measuring what it is that you want to be better. It has to be something that you can actually measure. Singing the right pitch can be measured. And how much percentage of the time you're hitting the right pitch, and how much percent of the time, how often do are you ending up flat or sharp? You can actually measure that, but you can't measure, well, it sounds beautiful. That is very subjective. Oh, you just lost my video? Sorry. Looks like my stream is okay. Is there a slight delay? Oh, I'm sorry. So, yeah, I think I can see it. And the audio and the video and all are not always perfectly synced. But any thoughts about that? What are the areas where you feel that you just keep repeating the same pattern and you can't seem to break out of it? I just, if I can help anyone here, um, I probably have thoughts about it. I'm just so excited about, I really want to start working more with people on the mindset side of things. And, really, the truth is, I get these emails every single day. And I recently sent out an email, and here's the classic example. I sent out an email asking everyone if, you know, if they're really serious about singing. How much do they want it? Do they want to start singing professionally or making money? And I got so many emails from people saying, "Yes, I am so serious about it. And I really want to do this seriously. I want to be successful. I want to have gigs. I want to sing for people." And you know what? As soon as I asked anyone to put some skin in the game, they backed out. And it's always this excuse of, well, but I want it so bad and it's the most important thing in my life right now, but I'm not going to do anything for it. Yeah, I will watch all the videos you want me to watch, but you know what? To truly put some skin in the game, to come here, I know some of you are really far away, but some of you are not that far away from Germany. And some of you tell me you're so serious and your biggest dream is to be a singer and to start having some gigs and just sing in front of people to make others happy. It's literally your biggest dream. It's what you've ever wanted, and you wish you could transition from your job and not do that anymore, but just sing. And you know what? It's not even worth $400 to some people. And that tells me how serious someone is. If someone tells me it's everything they've ever wanted, and then my for me, money is not an issue. Always ask myself, what if money were not an issue? What is it that I would want to do if money were not an issue? That'll show what's truly in your heart. And I think that is the most important thing. What is truly in your heart? And where there's a will, there's a way. I strongly believe that. I work with a coach right now, and I work with another coach right now because this is the only limiting factor, literally. How to keep a determined mindset? Here's how you can keep a determined mindset. You know what? Motivation is something that can fluctuate. You wake up someday and you're tired. Um, it's hard work to always work on motivation, but here's how to stay, like you said, determined mindset. And here is what I have learned. You have to ask yourself, what is it that is important to me? And then on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is this thing to me? So if it's a 2 or 3, probably you're not going to take serious action steps toward it. What if something becomes an absolute must? It's a 10, and you decide this is going to happen because There's no other way. It's a must. It must happen. I have decided that this is what's going to happen. So, what if you determine, I want to sing this power ballad next year for this concert? Make the decision and don't back out. Just make the decision. And to decide means to cut out all other option. There's no other option anymore. You have decided because it is so important to you. You have made the decision to cut off all other options. And when you cut off all other options, your mind is going to go to work. Your reticular activating system, your RAS, is going to filter everything that comes at you, and is going to pick out the things that are opportunities. And you're going to recognize opportunities that maybe you wouldn't have recognized without having always on your radar. This is what I have decided. This is so important to me that it's top priority. And if something is top priority, you will find a way to take all the action steps, and you will start finding opportunities, and you will figure out as you go, what is it that I need to do? Who do I need to talk to? What do I need to learn? Where can I learn this? Who can I talk to in order to get there? And it's always it's always been worth it. I'm going to pay my coach $15,000 over the course of a year because I know he's going to help me take the shortcut. Now, I could figure out some of these things and it probably would take me 20 years. My life is just not long enough to figure everything out on my own. I need someone to help me take the shortcut. You're very welcome. And when I learned that all I have to do to achieve anything I want to do is to decide, and to, like, there's no other option. Like, what if your life depended on it? Really, truly, if you said, what if my life depended on singing that song in that concert, dead on, blow people away? What if your life depended on it? What would you be willing to do? What would you be willing to do? How far would you go? What action would you take? What teacher would you look for? Who would you work with? Who would you ask for advice? Where would you go to practice? What workshops would you take if it were that important, if your life depended on it? And see, if your life doesn't depend on it, then it's not a 10 in your priority list. If it's only a 2 or 3, which is totally okay. Not everything in my life is a priority. Right now, my top priority um, are my kids, my 3 children, absolute number 1 priority. Myself, my physical well-being, my mental well-being, because I need to be the mom for my children that they need. That's all top priority. And it's like everything that I do serves the purpose of being the mom that my children need, helping my children become amazing adults one day. That's top priority. And everything serves that purpose. Everything that I do, even teaching you all and even talking to you all, I am more passionate than ever before, because I have 3 gigantic reasons why I do anything I do. And you know what? The truth is, you will thrive. The more people you help, the more people you touch, the more they will appreciate you. And that can come as all kinds of blessings, including financial blessings, um, friendships that develop. The more you help others, the more you bless others, it's going to all come back to you. Alrighty. I think I need to wrap it up. Any more thoughts? It's, in my 2-day workshop, this is exactly the type of stuff we're going to do. We're going to dive so deep, and I'm going to share all the things that I've learned over the years. As in the past, I was one of those closed mindset and, like, fixed mindset kind of artists, and everyone always told me I was so amazing. For years, people told me, "You know what? You are so amazing. You should do bigger and greater things. But I always was in that mindset of like, oh, but I don't want it and I don't really need it. And it's okay. I'm content. It's because I was taught like be modest and it's okay. Money is not important. And riches are not important. Fame is not important. I don't care about fame. What I do care about is impact. Um, Really, I don't need a million subscribers on my channel. It's really more about impacting the people that I do have in my ecosystem and making a difference. You can have like 5 million subscribers and they can unsubscribe anytime and they don't care about you anymore. But you can also have, well, I have more than 10,000, but you could have like 1,000 followers and to be truly connected to people. That is so much more valuable. And I feel like every single day in my vocal mastery lab, when I give feedback to everyone, it's so much more than just talking about singing technique. It's so personal, and the voice is definitely very personal. Michael, you're here. You can attest to that. The voice is so personal. It really takes a very close connection to open up, to even allow someone to get into this space of like, you can critique my voice and I feel okay with it. I don't feel attacked. I don't feel criticized. You can demonstrate what I can improve, but I feel like I can be vulnerable in front of someone. It takes a very special connection. You can't do that in front of everyone. You have to kind of feel like someone, is kind to you and understands you, and you want to open up to that person. And I want to be that person that everyone can get vulnerable with and open up, and the deepest and darkest, uh, things that might hold you back. I want to dig them out and help everyone to get rid of those limiting beliefs and that closed mindset of like, well, this is just how it is, and that's just I can't really live my dreams because that's not feasible, and it's not smart, and it's not this and it's not that, and it's like it's not. Um, I became a travel agent before I started music because I'm like, well, I have to do something that's like an actual job. I can't do like music. Being an opera singer surely was like this lofty thing. But you know what? I wanted to do it and I did it. And when I started YouTube, I had this vision of like, you know what? I really want to grow big and I want to impact people. I want people to know me for like, this is this vocal coach. She can sing opera and she can sing jazz and musical theater, and I can look up to her not just because she can sing. Like I want to be that vocal coach who can actually practice what she teaches. Um, and that is just has been the greatest reward, to connect with people. Alrighty, I'm gonna wrap it up now. I have literally been on this for a long time. Um, Definitely, as a musician, you're not only a healer, but you also get healed by performing music. You experience healing for yourself as a musician. Every time I perform, it is like a healing for me, only when I'm being truly, authentically myself. There's a lot to be said about that. I could probably make an entire video about that. Having said that, next Monday is going to be the first Mindset Monday video here on my YouTube channel. It's not going to be the same video that I post in my online singing school. It's going to be something different, but I feel it's really important. Where do you sign up? Oh, that's true. I didn't give you a link. Go to masteryourvoice.tv slash find true voice slash true voice, and you will get on the information page with all the information about it. So masteryourvoice.tv slash true voice. Um, Probably going to do more sessions like these because I really enjoy digging deep. One more story. A few years back, there were, well, really one friend of mine, and the group doesn't exist anymore in that formation. That's why I can say names now. They were called German tenors, and they were this very, very successful group of three tenors, like it says. Well, it doesn't say three. It was three tenors, but they were named German tenors. And they were wildly successful touring all over Germany. And they called up, like they could charge like 20,000 euros, and they filled huge spaces. Honestly, I always thought, now, one of the guys who was actually, he became my friend, Johannes, I think he was the only one of those three guys who was actually great. And the other two, I thought, yeah, it's okay, but really? How is it that they're so wildly successful? And I'll tell you, they were confident, they knew how to market themselves, and they knew what people loved to hear. They just pleased the crowds. There was another show I was part of. I'm not going to say the name this time, but I was part of that show, and that main singer who also moderated the show, I think he was a good singer, but it's not like he blew me away. I would have loved to teach him a few lessons and be like, can you like tweak this? People would love you so much more. This is a little bit annoying for me when I listen to it over long stretches. It's good, but it's like it has this element that, can you just do something about it? Of course, I didn't say anything because he paid me. Uh, Wildly successful and making so much money, although not the greatest. And then I have seen artists who were so amazing, and I could never figure out, like, how is it that they struggle and they hardly make any money? They were so much better than those others, but it's because they had this mindset of like, but I can't ask this much money, but I have to be modest and like, I don't know, I'm not that great, really, really. And if they would have just changed their mindset, they could have made millions. um Okay, one more comment. Faye says, singing for me is praising God, and you have helped me lead worship better with your help on phrasing and expressiveness. Awesome. You know what? And I feel that God expresses himself through our voices, through our music, through, like, we are this vessel. And I just don't believe that God meant us to hold back that he has given us. And so, for some of you, that might mean singing, leading worship or singing in the choir. But again, don't just assume that God made a mistake by giving you a voice. It's like, oh, he must have made a mistake. He did not make a mistake. He gave you the voice that you have, not a different one. He gave you what you have for a purpose with everything that goes with it. But what's going on here? That's the question. And that you can change. When you balance all your notes, you will be able to balance your life as well. That is true. Yes, I think also, we talked about wavelengths and frequencies in my music theory class just earlier, and it's not woo-woo. Everything consists literally of frequencies. Light has a frequency. That's why there's different types of colors and different lights. There's a laser beam that has a different frequency. There are different sounds, different frequencies, and matter. As a matter of fact, why is something solid and something liquid and something gas? Different frequencies. Yes, signing off now. I will also I will also sign up now. I'll learn vocal to sing at church, voice, and can polish more better and better. Yes, learning is never end is your life. It's true. You never stop learning till the end. Till the day you die, you will learn. Very much appreciated for your great teaching. Oh, thank you so much. All righty, y'all. Thank you for hanging out. If you have any other questions, please shoot me an email at info@masteryourvoice.tv. If you're interested in my 2-day workshop, you can find more information at masteryourvoice.tv/ um, true voice. I might change the name because but it is about your finding your true voice and then using that. Be blessed. And I will see you later. Some of you I will see very soon. And some of you I will hopefully also see in not too far of the future. Bye.